Hey y'all, Tara May here, and today I'd like to go over my Arrow video collection. They're UK based, but they do some region free, or they have a US branch now that are releasing a whole line of the Blu-rays and some DVDs. But I do have a region free player, so I'm able to actually play the region 2 ones as well. So I'm going to get straight into it. I've actually divided the Blu-rays into two groups here because I have so many, plus I'm going to do box sets separately with the DVDs. So, my first one of my favorite directors, and he does a lot of exploitation flicks such as Coffee, The Big Dollhouse, things like that, and that would be Jack Hill. Spider Baby is one of my favorite films. It's a black and white movie, and it's a little along the element of the Monsters in the Addams Family back in the late 60s. This movie was due to come out, it kind of got pushed back, so it never got as big as it should have had it been released along with the Monsters in the Addams Family came out. You got Lon Chaney Jr. doing kind of like the opening theme song. You got Carol Elmart, who you'll recognize from House on Haunted Hill. It's also got Sid Haig in it. He plays Ralph. You can kind of see him right there. And he is just the funniest thing ever in this. He's acting like a child. He comes down in this little schoolboy uniform and stuff. It is so funny. There is a lot of great features on Arrow Films. They go back, they do extensive interviews a lot of times. You get documentaries on some of these. You usually get alternate artwork on the covers, but they will, if they do that, offer you the original on the reverse, and you can switch that. So that would be what that looked like. This movie was also called The Maddest Story Ever Told. Lon Chaney Jr. does that opening song, and it's just a hoot to listen to him kind of go through the whole thing. The booklets that come with some of these are really in depth. They've got a lot of great pictures. They tell you a lot of things about the movie, fun facts you wouldn't know, and stuff like that. Now, the Marys, they've got their own disease in this, and they're kind of degenerating into, or regressing into a more childlike state, and then all the way back to almost like a troglodyte thing, where their base thing is kind of cannibalism and feeding and eating. So the adults are actually kind of kept in the basement, and the kids are kind of slowly, regressing into this state, while some of the relatives that weren't affected are coming to question what has going on and why they haven't heard from their relative. They kind of want to move in on the estate, but they've kind of picked the wrong time to come into this whole thing. So you get a lot of tension, suspense, but a lot of humor as well, especially the girl, Spider Baby herself, who kind of died tragically, and she never really cared for the movie. But she kind of does this whole spider thing, and she's got these two knives, and she kind of attacks. It is so much fun. All right, moving on. I've got Jack Hill's Pit Stop. Now this one is more like kind of a driving classic. It's black and white. It's got Sid Haig in it as well. But this one is more, okay, figure eight racing kind of thing. That would be where they cross. And so if you've got people that are lagging or something, you're going to actually have to try to go through that stream of traffic as you're going around the loop. It's not just a circle, it's a figure eight. So you're actually having a lot more danger involved. And there's a guy that basically wants to stop at nothing to try to win, and the kind of lengths that he goes to in order to win. At first he seems like some kind of hero, you're rooting for him, but he kind of gets really warped by the whole thing. And there's a lot of tension to this, and it's more of a thriller. I would not consider this a horror movie, but if you are a completist and you like Jack Hill stuff, you may want to check this one out. Sid Haig gives a good performance as normal, and you kind of got this. This actually is a card that comes with it that has like an ad on the back. But this one also had the booklet with it and stuff. And the original cover would have looked like this. And again, this one was also released in the 60s. It's black and white. And I thought it was neat that Arrow chose to release this title as well. It's probably not one of Jack Hill's more popular titles, but it is definitely worth a watch. So if you see it, I would pick it up and watch it if I were you. And Arrow's copy is great. Next, I have the Swinging Cheerleaders. A lot of you probably remember those late 70s, early 80s cheerleader movies. They usually had a lot of like a sex element to them. You saw a lot of boobs. You had a lot of capers and stuff. This falls right in line with that. And of course, you got a lady that's kind of undercover trying to do an expose on some corruption that leads back even into the staff. And she's kind of posing as one of the new cheerleaders in this particular film. This one's a little different than a lot of the other, as it actually has a sense of intelligence to it. Some of the other cheerleader movies I really couldn't get into simply because they were just dumb. They just kind of had no point. But I guess maybe that was the point, was just to see kids running around having sex or something. I don't know. But I like it to have more of a story than that. Um, the Pom Pom Girls, it was okay, but Porky's was a lot funner. It wasn't really a cheerleader movie, but it was a lot funner as far as the kind of content that movie had. Again, you got a lot of special features. Now, I've picked a lot of these up from sales. Sometimes you can get really good deals on these. I've received some as gifts. This particular one was actually a gift to me. And this movie, I like a lot of exploitation as well. I'm not just horror. I actually have really fallen into a lot of the exploitation stuff. So that right there to me would be one of those kind. Next I have Jack Hill's Coffee with Pam Grier. A lot of you know who Pam Grier is. She's the godmother of them all, as it says. And, of course, this is one of the famous ones where she kind of goes on a bit of a vigilante kick in order to get, revenge on some injustice that's been done to her or her family, Regarded as one of the best of blaxploitation genre, along with Shaft and Superfly, Coffee has been described as one of the most entertaining films ever made, and that was by Quentin Tarantino. With Coffee, Pam Grier was catapulted into stardom and iconic status following solid roles in earlier Chicks in Chains films. Here she plays Nurse Coffee Coffin, seeking vigilante justice when her little sister's hospitalized by a smack pusher. Coffee uses her body, bullets, and blades to get justice, working her way to the top of the criminal ring. But as she nears the top, she finds the level of corruption is closer to home than she thinks. This, along with Foxy Brown, they are very fun Pam Grier flicks. And like I said, she's in a lot of ones like The Big Birdcage, Big Dollhouse, stuff like that. Her and Sid Haig played well off each other in the roles. They're often in the same movies as each other by Jack Hill. And I love that Arrow covered some of these exploitation films like this in a lot of Jack Hill's titles because they do a lot of justice with their transfers, with their special features, their interviews. You learn a lot about these things. You get a lot of little great extras, and I really can't speak highly enough of Arrow. They're doing a lot of great stuff out there, very sturdy cases, So even though they can seem more costly, especially when we're not getting them on sale, they really are worth the money for serious collectors who enjoy a lot of those special features if they want to know more about the movies. I did happen to pick up Pam Grier and Foxy Brown. She's the meanest chick in town. I watched this one recently, watched a lot of the little features on it and stuff, and a lot of people had a lot of great things to say about Pam Grier and the way she carried this role. Her boyfriend, her brother likes to call him an informant. Really, he was kind of like a undercover officer, I believe. And he winds up getting gunned down, and she goes on kind of a, mission to end the corruption that's spreading around her city and stuff. And she winds up kind of kidnapped in the process and things like that. I don't want to give too much away, but there was a lot of great action sequences and stuff in that, and just her being pretty badass. Black Mama, White Mama with Margaret Markoff and Pam Grier. This one isn't actually a Jack Hill one, but I did pick this one up with those other ones. Before her iconic turn in Coffee, Pam Grier starred alongside Margaret Markoff in a grindhouse spin on Stanley Kramer's The Defiant Ones. Fusing the women in prison film with the emerging blaxploitation movement for a riotous romp of bullets, babes, and blood. So this one's more along the lines of some of those kind of, it's got some rebellion and stuff, if I remember correctly. I haven't actually got to watch this since I picked it up, and it's been a few years, but a lot of these, like The Big Dollhouse, The Big Birdcage, usually had elements of rebellion to it and things like that. There's usually some kind of funny moments. There's a lot of nudity in those kinds of films, so you can expect to see that. Okay, moving away from that type, I'm going to go into Lucio Fulci's Zombie Flesh Eaters. This was released also as Zombie or Zombie 2. Dario Argento had done the Italian version of Dawn of the Dead. And in response to that, they did Zombie 2, which was supposed to be the sequel. More kind of like a prequel. The chick in this, Tisa Farrow, who's Mia Farrow's sister in real life, she is looking for her father. He has went to an island and kind of disappeared, and he's left, like his boat comes up to shore on New York. And really there's just this mysterious letter to her. And her and a reporter, Ian McCulloch, who's famous for being a lot of these Italian splatter films and stuff, they go to try to find out what's going on and wind up on this island. And I'm guessing it's in South America. They try to spin in the voodoo aspect of the zombie stuff, which was best done in A Serpent and a Rainbow by Wes Craven, probably. But they don't really go so far with that particular element of it. It's more like the zombies that you would see in a Romero film, and less like the ones you would see in Craven's. Is these people have kind of decayed. You get some coming up out of the ground. You get a zombie versus a shark in this movie. Okay, underwater sequences that are unbelievable. You get, a lot of nudity. You get eye gouge scenes. You get all kinds of gore, and it's got a nice intensity. This is one of my favorite films, and it came out the year I was born, 1979. Showing my age there, don't even care. The Blu-ray version is uncut as Zombie Flesh Eaters. The DVD version was cut, however, it came with an awesome poster, so I actually did pick up the DVD as well because I wanted to have my cake and eat it too, because I wanted that poster, and I love this movie that much. Um, so I did wind up picking up both, even though one was cut, but I got the poster, so I'm not complaining. And then it's got this great alternate, the art and stuff. You get a lot of good perks, and even if you opted with the DVD, like I said, you got the poster and you got some other things with that that you didn't get with the special edition Blu-ray. So for me, it was wise to just go ahead and get both of a movie I really love. Next, I've got The Exterminator. Watched this recently. Robert Ginty, he comes back from Nome. His life was saved by his vet buddy there, and he winds up trying to stop a robbery. He gets himself killed, and that spurs this whole vigilante justice thing. And I mean, as you can see, kind of dons this outfit and stuff, and goes on this mission, just wiping out gangbangers and stuff. If you like movies like Death Wish, high on action, vigilanteism, stuff like that, you would really love this film. I mean, it may not be the best, it may not have the best budget, but there's really a lot of good elements about this and some fun, well, maybe I'm sick for thinking the death stuff's fun, but, it's fun. I'm sorry. The action stuff. But it's got a lot of stuff. People told me for years to watch this, and I never had got around to it, and I found an Arrow release, picked it up, and I'm very happy that I did. See a lot of the special features there if I didn't show you that. Alright. Next one is Maniac Cop. Now this is a classic. It has Bruce Campbell in more of a serious role. It has Robert Starr with the kind of big jaw. You'd recognize him. Mostly the lackey in a lot of action flicks. It's got Tom Atkins, who was in movies like The Fog, Halloween 3. He did kind of get typed into horror a little bit there. And he gives a great interview on this. That man, he almost does not seem to age. He always looks that same amount of old to me. So you got the booklet with this one. This one's kind of about a cop, and there's the dollar right there, who got convicted of some stuff. I believe he was set up, is what they kind of go with. I'm not really giving too much away here. They reveal that. He winds up kind of getting killed horribly, but there's some deaths that are being committed that seem to have to link back to with what happened to him. So the mystery is what's going on, and surprisingly, some characters you would think would survive don't. It's got a lot of great, some action stuff in it and everything. And like I said, it was refreshing to see Bruce Campbell not just have to be funny and goofy and stuff like that. My next one, this is Life Force. This is one of the famous old Cannon films, I believe. They had like these whole weird, bizarre. The chick that you kind of see right here, she's sort of like, it's almost kind of like a space vampire. What they do is they feed off people and they suck their energy out of them in order to survive. She walks around pretty much butt naked through every part that she has. She rarely has anything on, which was a big, thing for the movie and everything. These people out on a mission, they find this kind of a ship with these people that are in a frozen state. She's the one they kind of picked to bring back. But she comes out of the suspended animation and kind of wreaks havoc on the crew there. She kind of has a way of like seducing, and stuff like that. This is a very fun film, and it's directed by Tobe Hooper, who of course did Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Frighteners. He's done a lot. Eaten Alive, done a lot of great films, and this is one of his more along the lines of sci-fi, as he kind of did have a tendency to delve into. And it kind of has a bit of an insanity to it, because it kind of just switches up and becomes this strange fight for, Earth and stuff like that. But it's a lot of fun to watch, and it's kind of like if you like those old sci-fi flicks, alien invasion, stuff like that, especially the ones that look more human, you would definitely enjoy that film. My next one is Contamination. You know, when the Aliens movies came out, there was a lot of people trying to emulate different portions of the movie, trying to make their own thing, trying to, you know, capitalize on what Alien did, the kind of ground that it broke there. This one kind of takes the idea of like the eggs and an invasion. It's kind of got, you know, it actually, in a way, reminds me of some of the old black and white sci-fi flicks where you've kind of got the scientist and the cop, and they're trying to figure out what's going on, you know, like some of the big bug movies would have kind of been, or alien creatures. This movie, and it has a nice slipcover here, as you can see, kind of takes a note between Alien and somewhere between an old black and white kind of crazy sci-fi flick, and it just kind of amps up the violence. It was an Italian film by Luigi Cozzi, who had worked with Dario Argento and stuff. I believe it has a score by Goblin, which you would know from Deep Red, Suspiria. They were prog rockers. It's a cargo ship full of eggs that gets found, and they're trying to figure out. Obviously, somebody's behind having bringing them there, you know. And this particular special edition had a lot of little pluses and stuff to it. It's fun. It's not the greatest film that I have ever seen. It's actually rather kind of bizarre, but it is worth a watch, especially if you're into the Italian stuff. You know, they have a tendency to amp up the gore, the nudity, just the crazy elements. Sometimes they go a little more farther with things sometimes than a lot of the American titles would have. So they kind of tried to amp up the things that you would have found in a movie like Alien, and made their own thing here. So, I'll with the slipcover later. And the last one I'm going to show in this portion of the film is actually going to be Videodrome. David Cronenberg, he delved mostly into the sci-fi horror element. He did a lot of movies such as Rabid, Shivers, Scanners. You're probably familiar with a lot of those titles. Videodrome is probably one of his most popular ones. This one is got a heavy noir element to it, like, you know, the old film noir. Debbie Harry, better known probably as her performance in Blondie whenever she was on stage, kind of a punk. She's interviewing James Woods. James Woods has stumbled onto this sort of bizarre broadcast where these people are being tortured. He thinks it's kind of like a game show, like a setup. He's trying to investigate where it's coming from, where the signal's coming from. He turns her onto it, and she's kind of into pain. As you can see her burning herself there on the front cover. She kind of winds up wanting to become sort of a contestant on this game show and figuring out, you know, she wants to go on there, pretty much get tortured, get off on the pain. It's this whole bizarre, surreal thing that happens at this point where you're kind of going in and out of reality. He's starting to, James Woods' character, lose touch with what is real and what isn't. There's, you know, bizarre mind warp, you know, or mind fuck, if you pardon my language, things that go on. He'll see stuff like her on the TV talking to him, you know, the strange flesh stuff. And there seems to be a lot more going on than meets the eye, and it all has to do with like television and broadcasts and control and stuff like that. So it's really, you have to see it to believe it kind of film if you haven't already. And Arrow's particular version, they had a nicer one out. I missed that one. Criterion Collection also has a very decent one. However, this special edition, even though it's not like the deluxe one they had, it still has a lot of special features on it. It has a lot, you know, for the... I got this for $11 something on a sale, on an Arrow sale, and it is well worth that and more, as that is one classic movie there. Alright, so that's the first half of my Arrow Blu-ray collection. I hope you all enjoyed that. I'm going to be bringing you the second half of that here soon. And, if you have any questions, you can ask below, or you can ask me on Twitter at Taramae79, Taramae79. I don't mind answering questions about the releases, about Arrow, about some of the things. If you have questions about a particular movie, you can ask, and I'll try to find that information out for you. And I appreciate you watching my video. Like if you enjoyed this, subscribe if you'd like to, and until next time, I will see you later.